Thanks for the intro, Corey. Good afternoon, everyone. I have to admit I'm a little bit jealous after this morning hearing all the chatter about retirement, knowing how much longer I have to go, but thankfully I still enjoy my job, so maybe it won't feel that long. My name is Ryan Booth. I'm the adult assessment biologist at the Sea Lamprey Control Program based out of Sault Ste. Marie with Department of Fisheries and Oceans. And I have the pleasure to present to you the status of sea lamprey in Lake Superior for 2023. So I'll begin with going over the fish community objectives and targets established for sea lamprey and wounding on lake trout in Lake Superior. Then we'll look at the most recent lake trout wounding rates available, followed by our sea lamprey trapping locations and adult index for 2023. And then finally we'll look at the other areas within the program and see what was accomplished last field season and look at plans for the upcoming field season. So the fish community objective that was established in the early 2000s and what we continue to work with today is to suppress sea lamprey populations to levels that cause only insignificant mortality on lake trout. And in order to achieve this fish community objective, the Lake Committee agreed upon the following targets for Lake Superior. The target for our sea lamprey index is less than 10,420 adults, and for a wounding target, not more than 5 A1 to A3 wounds per 100 lake trout larger than 532 millimeters, or around 21 inches. So going with that last target first here, this plot shows the wounding data from spring assessment surveys on Lake Superior, up to and including the spring of 2023. So the single point estimate and 3-year average, which is depicted here by the blue line, remains above the target of 5 wounds per 100 lake trout, which is that red dotted line in this figure. You'll note that the 3-year average has remained fairly steady for the past 15 years or so, but that the single point estimate for 2023 is also the highest in that same time frame. That increase also coincides with the adult index you'll see coming up in the presentation here. So going to that first target now, our adult index comes from our trapping operations. This map has all the sea lamprey trapping sites on Lake Superior that were operated in 2023. And our index sites are labeled with red dots here and non-index sites with the black dots. We were able to obtain successful marker capture estimates from all 7 of our index sites in 2023, which was great. And from those 7 sites, we caught a total of 4,752 adult sea lamprey, which is an increase of almost 2.5 times the number we caught the year prior. And then an additional 506 lamprey were caught from non-index sites this past year. And those are trapped as part of the ongoing supplemental control study, as well as collaborative agreement with partners. So many of these trap sites shown here are operated by staff from the Keweenaw Bay Indian community, as well as the Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission. And the work they do is very much appreciated, so thanks for that. So just before looking at our adult index, I thought we could look at the treatment history for Lake Superior through the years, since it may help to at least partly explain the increase we saw for both the wounding and adult index in 2023. So in 2020 and in 2021, you can see there were around 30 scheduled treatments in each of those years. We were only able to accomplish 13 and 23 of those respectively. This was due mostly to travel restrictions related to COVID, but also due to low water conditions, in particular in 2021. So the juveniles that out-migrated from streams in those 2 years would then feed on fish in 2021 and 2022, and then they return to spawn in 2022 through 2024, depending on their growth. So I think we could possibly anticipate 1 more year of an increased adult index in 2024, but time will tell for that. But thankfully, as you can see, in the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, control crews were able to treat many of the sea lamprey producers. So hopefully the adult index drops quickly in the next few years beyond. So after seeing that the number of adults caught in 2023 was 2.5 times what we caught in 2022. And for our index sites and the fact that there were many deferred treatments in 2020 and 2021, it's maybe not too surprising that we saw an adult index value in 2023 around 3 times what it was last year in 2022. So our single point estimate for 2023 and 3-year average, depicted by the blue line here again, are both above the target, shown with the red dotted line. But hopefully, as said, with control crews working hard to apply lampricide to streams that require it, we can bounce back fairly quickly here. So let's take a look at what field crews were able to accomplish in 2023. In total, there were 74 streams scheduled for treatment, some of which required both a lentic and a lotic treatment. So each dot here represents a stream mouth that was scheduled for treatment in 2023. As you can imagine, that was a pretty tall order to fill this past year. The control crews were up for the task. As you can see here, only 3 streams were deferred to 2024. And then starting west and heading east here, that's the Cloud River, which was only partially treated due to low water. There were high densities of large larvae present there, so control crews will be making this a priority in 2024. Similarly, the next one heading east, Jarvis River, was not able to be treated due to low water conditions. And then finally, the one furthest north there is the Gravel River. It was a lentic plot that could not be treated in its entirety. So all 3 deferred streams are scheduled to be treated with lampricide in 2024. And you'll see that coming up as well. So although lampricides remain to be our most effective means of control, barriers also play a very important role in restricting access to spawning sea lamprey to the reaches above the barrier. So the barrier unit inspects and maintains many different types of barriers, from inflatable dams with trap and sort fishways to seasonal stop log barriers to permanent low head barriers. And each type of barrier serves a different purpose depending on the requirement of the specific stream and the shareholders involved. In 2023, there were 18 purpose-built or modified sea lamprey-specific barriers operated on Lake Superior during the spawning migration. And larval assessment crews did detect escapement above the Sand and Middle Rivers this past year. So investigation is underway to determine how spawning adults were able to pass those barriers. Shifting over to larval assessment, Lake Superior has over 1,500 tributaries, 172 of which have records of sea lamprey production at some point. Larval crews were very busy this past year. As you can see, each of those black dots seen here depicts a stream mouth in which larval crews surveyed in 2023. In total, they surveyed the lentic and or lotic area of 197 Lake Superior streams. All surveys to detect sea lamprey presence are done either by backpack electrofisher or by granular balicide in areas that are too deep to wade, all with the end result of determining which streams require lampricide application the following year to prevent sea lamprey metamorphosis and subsequent out-migration to feed on fish in the lake. So each black dot can represent many surveys. These are just the stream mouths, as said. So some streams where large larvae are present require distribution work to determine the full extent of infestation, so that control crews can apply lampricide at the upper limits of where sea lamprey larvae are present. In some instances, that can require 20 or 30 or more surveys to achieve this task just on one stream alone, so it's a ton of effort. Other types of surveys include treatment evaluations, where they look to determine the effectiveness of the treatment. Barrier effectiveness surveys, which we just talked about, we're looking for escapement above barriers. And there's routine surveys where we look at streams on a semi-regular basis that have no history of production, but we monitor them periodically just to ensure they have not established populations there. And then the last major type of larval assessment survey are ranking surveys, which is a means to compare streams within all the Great Lakes to determine which tributaries should be prioritized for lampricide application the following year. So from all the ranking surveys performed on Lake Superior, those are compiled with all the other Great Lakes surveys, and we end up with something that looks like this for each of the lakes, where some streams are prioritized ahead of others depending on lamprey densities and sizes. So these are the streams that require treatment in 2024 for Lake Superior, and you'll notice that our deferrals from 2023 show up here as well. So in total, there's 40 streams here that require lamprey application on Lake Superior in 2024. And just comparing that list to the completed treatments in past years, the average number of completed treatments on Lake Superior is 37. That's that red line here. So we're just slightly above that with treatment plans for 2024. I'll just finish up the presentation with a topic that's been growing in popularity lately. We started trapping some of our streams for out-migrating juveniles in the fall a little more regularly as part of the supplemental control study initially, but we've added some streams since then. So trapping these streams are highly desirable to researchers for the animals, but also as a means of control since they've evaded other methods of control until now. And this is our last opportunity to remove them before exiting the streams to feed on fish in Lake Superior. In addition to the supplemental control study streams, we also trap some other tributaries. That lamprey application or larval assessment teams have noted increased numbers of metamorphosed sea lamprey during treatments or surveys. So this map illustrates the streams that were trapped in the fall of 2023. Depending on the size of the stream that's being trapped, there are different styles of nets that work best. In the fall of 2023, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, along with KBIC and Glyphwick, were able to trap and remove nearly 500 metamorphosed out-migrating juveniles from these tributaries, and the numbers are listed there by stream. Plans for 2024 would still include the supplemental control streams, but could also include any other streams that control or assessment crews, if they find some juveniles that may be present and they think it's worthwhile to trap. Trapping in this manner can be pretty tricky since the timing window is very small and water temperatures dip to near freezing. There's all kinds of debris and leaves coming down that time of year, so it's pretty tricky, but it's always rewarding to pull out these lamprey as they make their way out to the lake before doing any damage. So that's all I have for the update for this year. I'd be happy to answer any questions now or tonight.